How can you improve your communication skills as a professional in the workplace? That's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to share with you 6 tips that you can utilize that would help you improve your communication. So stick around as we talk about this. Hello, my name is Oyinkan Akimade. I'm a speaker and a workplace coach. I teach people how to be confident, how to communicate effectively at work, and form those connections that would help you as a professional in the workplace. In today's video, I'm talking about 6 tips that would help you improve your communication skills as a professional at work. So let's get right to it. First of all, let's go over a brief review on what communication is. It's a conversation or communication or interaction between you and someone else, or between you and a group of people. And for communication to be effective, it's important that people hear you and understand what you mean. And at the same time, it's important that you hear them and you understand what they mean. So let's get right into the tips. The first thing is to be clear with your message. It's not another person's job to infer what you mean. It's not the other person's job to figure out what you're trying to say. You must be clear with your message. State your opinions clearly, express your likes or dislikes clearly, express your opinion on a project or whatever it is you're talking about clearly. You can't just wish that they knew what you meant. You can't just hope that they get what you mean. You have to be clear in your message. And to be clear in your message, you have to try as much as you can to put it in a context that the other person can understand. Put in the experience, the exposure, and the background of that person into consideration when you are expressing that opinion. The second thing is you have to listen. When you are in a conversation or when you're in a meeting or when you're in a group, it is essential that you listen to what the other person is saying. Don't get caught up in your own world where you're thinking of the next thing you need to say without listening, because you want to pick up on the cues that the other person is giving through the intonation, the expressions, whatever they do. You want to actively listen to the other person to understand fully what they mean. The third thing is you want to utilize body language. And what do I mean by this? When you are communicating with somebody, you do not want to feel closed. You don't want them to think you're closed up. You don't want them to think you don't really care about what they're there to say or what they're there to express. You want them to think and to know that you're open to them and you're listening to them and you care about what they think, because it's a joint effort. We're talking about the workplace here, not a personal thing. Yes, you're expressing your opinion, you're expressing your point of view, but your opinion and your point of view is about the workplace. It's about them as well. So make sure that you're confident when you speak. Make sure that your body language is open and it looks like you're interested in what they're saying, because that makes a lot of difference when you're communicating with people. You wouldn't want to communicate with someone that doesn't seem to have your time, like, putting their shoulders across, doing something else when they're talking to you. How will that make you feel? You'll feel like they're not there to listen to you. So it's important that when you're communicating with them or when you're interacting with them, you pay full attention to what they're saying. You suspend your writing, except you really need to take a quick note, but take the quick note and give your attention back to them. You also want to take into consideration the body language of those who you're communicating with. Listen. Body language will give you a lot of cues verbal communication would not give you. Do they look worried? Do they look concerned? Do they look unhappy? Do they look like they disagree with what you're doing? For example, if you're in a presentation and as you're going along, you notice people start to scratch their heads or look confused or look like they have questions, that may be a good time to either pause and ask if they have any clarifications they want you to make, or just to ask any questions really, like, is there anything you want me to clarify? Or sometimes it may give you an indication when you're going too far. Maybe you're giving an opinion on something and you feel like the person isn't receiving it. Well, that may be a good idea to back off and just take a pause and gather yourself again before you speak. So watching the body language of the other person gives you a cue. Should I ask more questions? Does this person need more clarifications? Am I going too far? Am I not going far enough? It gives you an indication of the next step you should take if you can just cue into it. The fourth thing is to control your emotions. Listen, it is so easy to get all emotional when someone says something to you that feels personal. But that is the most important time to demonstrate your professionalism and to maintain your cool. Yes, you may need to correct some misperceptions. Yes, you may need to correct some wrong sayings, but you need to do it with a cool and calm demeanor. Don't let your emotions get the better of you, because what happens with emotions is if you allow your emotions to control the conversation, it may get out of hand. It may ruin your personal reputation. For example, someone says something to you and you go in a fit and you look like an angry person and they're wondering, who is this really who we want to walk with? It may give the wrong perception of who you are if you allow your emotions take charge, especially if those emotions are negative. Anger, frustration, emotions like that. Even when you're excited, depending on the group, you don't want to be overly excited. You want to give an equal response to the group or to the person that you're speaking with. Now, talking about the last two tips. I've been told by my clients have been very helpful to them. Learn background information. What do I mean by this? Find out everything you can about the people you work with. And when I mean everything you can, don't go into their private business, no. But just find out the things, their perception, their perspective, how they think about things, because that would help you when you relate with them. That will help you when you're gathering facts. That will help you when you're preparing for your presentation. Be conscious of the emotions that they've recently gone through. For example, have they gone through a recent loss? Or have they actually gone through a recent success? If they've gone through a recent loss, obviously they'll be more apprehensive. They may be more critical of your work. So when you know some of those emotions that they've gone through as a result of an experience, you will be able to prepare as you interact with them. Let me give you an example. You want to present the need for your organization to invest in a new software. If they had had a bad experience with another software before, of course, when you're about to present your own ideas, they will be more apprehensive, they will be more critical, they will, bring up everything why it may not work. So if you know that ahead of time, you can get all the facts about the success. You can research the companies or the organizations that have used similar software and how it has helped them. And then when they're asking you these questions, it feels less of a personal attack. Sometimes it feels less of, they don't want this to work. They're not interested in my idea. You would understand that they're coming from an angle of loss and you're better prepared for such scenarios. The last one is speaking the language of your audience. This is a very vital or crucial key. Speak in the way that would resonate with the other person or with the other group you're speaking with. If you have a group of clients, find out the background of the clients. Are they doctors? Are they lawyers? Just and that's part of getting a brief background and getting to know about their background. Look at the things that generally gets them excited. Look at the phrases or the wordings that resonates with them. If you're talking to someone that is, into financial planning or into accounting, they like, profits, they like income, they like reducing deficits. If you're talking with an HR professional, you talk about things about employee retention and job satisfaction, onboarding costs. Look for the things that makes them perk their ears up when they hear you speak, and you will get their attention in that way. Don't just go to someone else and like, hey, I got an idea. This is a great idea. Yes, that's good, but give them a little more specific details that would get them interested to hear you. Hey, I got an idea that would decrease the cost of onboarding. I'll send you an email and we can set a time where we can discuss this. Is that okay with you? Of course, to an HR professional, when you tell them that you have something that will decrease the cost of onboarding, they're eager to hear what you have to say. They're really open. They're excited to hear your ideas. So when you're speaking with people, find out those things that resonate with them. Find out those things that don't just come up with an idea that sounds good to you, but make sure it sounds good and has a benefit to the person you're speaking to. Let me go over the tips once again. Be clear about your message. Listen actively. Utilize body language. Open up. Show that you're engaged with your audience. And also look out for their own body language. Control your emotions. Learn background tips and speak in the language of the audience. So I have more videos on body language, on personal branding, on things that would help you as a professional. So make sure you check those out as well.